Thank you, Mr. Higgins. The Civic Engagement team of the Department held a meeting regarding Thornton Hall site on the 29th of May as the Government had proposed its use as a refugee and asylum seeker accommodation centre. The National Lead on the Civic Engagement, Evelyn Byrne, briefed me, along with other members of the Oireachtas from North Dublin, Meath East region, at this meeting in May. At the time of our meeting, the Gardaí were completely unaware of the proposed repurposing of Thornton Hall. At this meeting, we were given assurances that this disastrous plan would be operating by the end of June. It is now July, and as we prepare to break for the summer recess, there is no clear plan in sight as to what will happen next. Thornton Hall has been designated as a site for a prison. Turning Thornton Hall into a tent city is a poorly planned emergency response to failed migration policy. In March, a press release stated that the Government agrees new comprehensive accommodation strategy for the international protection applicants. It outlines that the Government's plan will see a move away from full reliance on private providers and towards a core of state-owned accommodation. Is that a coded way of saying we're going to put people in tents until we can think of something better? It says clearly in this press release that the use of state land for prefabricated and modular units is a distinct part of the plan. Thornton Hall has clearly been considered for modular or tented accommodation for months now. The public is still none the wiser. Ms Byrne also added that approximately 6 sites across Ireland were being considered also for similar tent city arrangements. These proposals are horrific and inhumane. It is outrageous that a government is behaving in a secretive manner with respect to its national plans. The Thornton Hall tent site is a terrible idea. If it's designed to be a blueprint for a national solution to a migrant crisis, it is an abysmal failure. Many people have raised very pertinent and valid concerns about water. In a recent interview with Grip to Media, Councillor Gillian Toole added that a strategic housing development was refused there due to the lack of water infrastructure. Thornton Hall is also in the flight path, so there are serious concerns for sound pollution for any form of human habitation there. We've heard time and time again from the Government about international obligations and how communities have demonstrated great solidarity and welcome for those who come here seeking refuge. That is a very narrow view of the story in Ireland today. Towns have been destroyed, hotels in small towns in Ireland are akin to town halls, and so much more beyond that. This Government has no regard for the people of Ireland. They serve international pressures and forces instead of the electorate. I call on the Government, after the disastrous vote for the EU Migration Pact, to finally listen to the people of this country. The Irish people want sensible, reasonable border control. They want concrete plans and a functional visa programme and sensible humanitarian policies. We are almost certainly heading to a general election in the autumn. I urge candidates to talk less about international obligations and more talk about national obligations.
Thank you, Senator Keogan. Minister.
Thank you very much, Senator. Ireland and many other European countries, as you know, are experiencing a significant increase in people seeking international protection. The arrival numbers remain significantly elevated. In the first 26 weeks of this year, over 10,000 people have arrived in Ireland seeking accommodation from the state, averaging 386 people per week. This is more than 5 times the average from 2017 to 2019. The highest weekly applications so far this year has been 610 applicants. The Government is making every effort to accommodate people seeking international protection against a backdrop of unprecedented demand. However, the situation remains challenging, and the Department of Children, Equality, Disability, Integration and Youth cannot provide accommodation to all applicants. Over 2,300 single men are awaiting an offer of IPAS accommodation. Against this backdrop, the Government is considering all offers of accommodation in line with the comprehensive accommodation strategy approved by Government on the 27th of March this year, which the Senator referred to. This revised strategy followed a review of the implementation approach for the White Paper due to an exponential growth in applications for international protection, with over 30,000 new arrivals since January 2022, whereas the White Paper was originally based on 3,500 new arrivals each year. The review included inputs from the White Paper Programme Board and the External Advisory Group. The government-approved comprehensive accommodation strategy seeks to address the current accommodation shortfall while reforming the system over the long term to ensure the state will be able to meet its international commitments. The reform will see a move away from full reliance on private providers, as the Senator acknowledged, and towards a core of state-owned accommodation, delivering 14,000 state-owned beds by 2028, quadruple the previous commitment under the White Paper. This will be supplemented as required by high-standard commercial providers. Accommodation in the new strategy is being delivered through the following multi-strand approach: the utilisation of state land for prefab and modular units, conversion of commercial buildings, targeted purchase of medium and larger turnkey properties, design and build of new reception and integration centres, and the upgrading of IPAS centres. As part of this planning, the Department is working with the Irish Prison Service on a handover regarding services at Thornton Hall. A review is currently ongoing regarding the current status of water, which the Senator alluded to, electricity and sewage capabilities at Thornton Hall. The Department is engaging with partners to complete relevant environmental assessments. The Department will be working on several options, including short and long-term solutions to infrastructure challenges for accommodation for international protection applicants at Thornton Hall. The immediate focus is on sourcing state-owned land where tenanted accommodation can be provided and vacant state-owned buildings. Additionally, an expression of interest process has been launched by the Department of Children, Equality, Disability, Integration and Youth for the sourcing of suitable properties for acquisition or lease as international protection accommodation.
Thank you very much, Minister. Senator Keogan, supplementary.
Thank you, Minister. Minister, I'm disappointed by your answer for two reasons. Firstly, much of what has been you said is lifted from word from the March press release document, which leads me to my second point. You've completely ignored the specifics of my commencement matter. I asked the need for the Minister for the local government to give an update on the Thornton Hall site, which is a subject for use of the refugee and asylum seeker accommodations, and please provide details of the lease that the Department holds, its duration and the overall size of the lease site being leased. I asked for three specific points to be clarified. I asked for details of the lease. I didn't receive that from you today. I asked for the lease duration and the overall size of the site being leased. I also asked this of Evelyn Byrne, the national lead on the civic engagement, and received no response since. Whomever advised you, Minister, on answering this commencement matter should maybe have read my submission before answering. Is it now a formal policy, government policy, to ignore members of these houses on the matters which are important to the public? I will leave it to you to raise this at Cabinet. This is not good enough. These are questions that the public want answered. And also what's really important today, and I'm sure the 56,000 people that are on our social housing list will be very happy with, you're going to target and purchase of medium and larger turnkey properties to deal with the IPAS system, the IPAS accommodation in this country.
Thank you, Senator.
The Irish people are not going to be happy with that.
Thank you very much, Senator Keogan.